Hey guys, welcome back to Pause and welcome back to Parkitect. So this is part 3 and this is take 2 for this video. So earlier on I recorded about 40 minutes worth of footage of this area. Just as it got to the end of the recording, I was just about to finish, I was placing some bins down and the game crashed. So I didn't have autosave turned on, so I got the footage, but I lost all of the work on the game. So I have no save file of it. So, not to worry, I loaded it back up again and I've sort of recreated as much of it as I could. I have made a few little tweaks here and there, and to be honest, I think I've done it a little bit better this time than I did in the previous recording. So, there's always a silver lining to these sort of things. So, what we do in this episode is we focus on the next tiny little bit of the main street. I do a little bit of work that I'm currently doing here in the middle with some topiaries and make it look a little bit nicer for this little walk through. I extend the path up a little bit more to sort of give it its full length. It's kind of double the size that's already there now. And I also start work on a couple of the other buildings to the right hand side of the main street. So there's a few little bits and pieces we get to. So I'll just talk you through a few bits as we get to it. So for the time being, I will leave you with the lovely sounds of Parkitect. Okay, so at the moment I'm just starting work on another one of the buildings to the other side of the main street. What I'm going for here, it ends up having a souvenir shop and a drink shop, I believe, inside it, from what I remember I put in there. So what the plan here is, I thought I'd build a little courtyard outside, so it just had its own little private seating area. There's some benches and bins and lamps, a little bamboo area. I fill it around with trees and also pop a few rocks in there as well. So it just seems a nice little secluded area, the welcome to the park. So if this was a real life park, I imagine it'd be like a little coffee shop, like a Costa or a Starbucks or something, with a little seating area, just as a nice little welcome, probably serve breakfast, things like that. So that's what I was going for with this building. Now a lot of the buildings that I'm doing at the moment, I haven't put much work into them just yet. They will be more detailed over time. For now I'm just getting the shell in there and just getting everything marked out and in the right areas. So that's why it might look like some of these buildings look a little bit unfinished, and that's because they are, especially the ones I did in the last episode. That more details will be added soon, and obviously when more theming aspects are put into the game down the line, then we can keep adding to this as well. So I mean that's the thing to not forget about this game. It's still early access. I mean we're in Alpha 14, at the moment, so there's still plenty of time for new scenery items and building pieces to get put into this game over time, which we can just keep adding to. So what I'm doing right here, I thought my plan for this main street is to have every building unique and different. I don't want everything to look the same. I want everything to be different, and as you're walking down the street, you're getting variety. So what I'm doing with this one, it's just like a nice sort of yellowy brick building, and I thought I'd stick a sort of glass section on the roof, just to give it a little depth and just to give the different buildings some heights as well. As you'll see, the building I start after this one is a little bit lower as well, so it just gives the area some depth. I'll just try a couple of different roof types as well, just to see what works and what doesn't, and I settle on a sort of slightly lower roof in the end. So that's where we're at with this one. Let's talk a little bit about the plans for the park. I'm going to see how it goes really with this, and I don't want to use the term make it up on the spot, but there is going to be a bit of that. I'm just going to see what I fancy and see what happens on the day. Things might not work, I might have to redo some bits, but that's all part of it. And this is the first time that I've ever actually made or attempted to make a full park on this game. Now in the past I've used games such as Roller Coaster Tycoon 1, 2 and 3. I've spent a lot of time on back in the day. So I've got the experience of building these kind of parks, but just not with this game. So a few bits is going to be a bit dodge, and I'll admit that. But this is a learning curve for me as well, and I'm still finding out features of the game as I go along. So if you do see things and you think, why is he doing it that way, or there's an easier way to do that, just remember I'm still quite new to the game, and I know I do the alpha updates, but that is just as well as me finding it out, it's showing you guys what's new as well. I am nowhere, would I ever say I'm anywhere near a pro or an expert at this game, nowhere near. So don't expect this to be the most detailed review or park you've ever seen, but I will try my best. So I'm sticking in, I think that's a coffee shop and a balloon stall, and some kind of candy floss, I think the one in the middle is. Like I said, just a few little snack bits, just to get a bit of variety in the shops. And I'm starting the little seating area now as well. So like I was saying, my plan for the park, I am going to do themed areas. Again, I haven't decided what yet. I mean, there are very limited pieces in the game. There are sort of horror sets, there are futuristic sets, and sort of generic things. There's a few little bits of farming in there, farming sets. There's like road stuff where you can build like go-karts and barrels and things. So there's a few starts for themes, but nothing sort of too substantial yet in the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how we're going to theme these areas, but I will try my best. That is the aim, to have themed areas. So we'll see how we get on. We'll come up with some rides that suit the themes, the roller coasters as well, and things like that, where we will just try and make everything match and then bring it all together to be one cohesive park. That's the plan. Once we get started on the first area, we'll zoom out a bit, plan out where we're going to put things, see how much space we've got, and then sort of work out where everything's going to go in the park. I still need to decide on what the central feature is going to be. So obviously in certain theme parks around the world, you have like an icon. For example, Alton Towers has the house, the towers in the centre. The Disney Magic Kingdom style parks have the castle. Animal Kingdom has the big tree of life. So loads of parks seem to have that kind of central aspect and sort of viewpoint. And that's what I think this park needs. Now, at the end of the main street is where we get to at the end of this episode. We sort of get the path in where the sort of end of it will go. We lift up some of the ground and make it all flat. So I think I need to really come up with a plan for that. I don't think I'm going to do a castle, because that's a bit generic. I was thinking maybe just a big courtyard area, but then again, I want some height to it. So I'm still trying to think what I might do with that. Maybe a kind of Disneyland Paris style thing with it on a hill. Then again, like I said, I don't really do a castle. I don't know. I'm working on it. I'm going to come up with some plan. So there will be some kind of central feature. I just don't know what that's going to be just yet. So on this next building that I'm doing here, like I said, I wanted to get a few different heights. So it's a little bit lower than the building to the right hand side, the yellow building. All this one is going to house is toilets, and I think I've got a cash machine in there as well. So it just, like I said, it's just a building, a building that's going to be quite important at the park entrance, and that's all this is really. And like I said before, I just don't want there to be all the same style of building throughout the entrance, because I want a bit of variety. Otherwise it's boring. So you want something to focus your eyes on, and that's the plan. So in terms of the actual pathways, I'm trying to make them wide enough for guest flow, interesting enough so there's little cut throughs, and also I don't want it to be too confusing, so it's finding that balance. And that was always the problem you had with Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2, is if you put really wide paths in, they tend to get confused. Now I'm assuming the AI on this is a little bit better, but we'll see as we get on. And that's once we open the park and we can see where there's bottlenecks and where guests are getting confused, so we can always make tweaks. But I'm going to try and plan it out so there's always enough space. That's why I've got sort of double path, and this main entrance has got the sort of tarmac edge as well, so it gives you enough space. Now if this was a real park, I envision you'd have like a parade coming down the centre, you'd be able to watch it inside, and it just gives you those A, gives you options, and B, gives them space to do things in the park. So that's where the plan for that one is. Now here I thought I'd just stick some signs on the wall. So we've got a toilet sign, and I think an information sign as well. I think I'll stick on there. So again, I'm starting with a few little details, but like I said, most of that will be put on down the line once more things are sort of put in the game, really. So yeah, after this I think I'll continue on with the path and extend that up a little bit. In the previous recording that I did lose the footage of, well, I lost the save file of, I did toy with the idea of putting a carousel at the end of the path. I sort of lowered it down and I put it in just above a little bit of water. I just wanted there to be something as you're walking up the main street. I've gone off the idea of that now since I've re-recorded this and sort of had another go at the main street. So in a way I'm glad that I didn't keep that, and the queue line just didn't fit. And I don't want there to be an initial kind of bottleneck at the end of this path, because that's what I created by putting a ride basically where that gap is now where I'm building the path. It just didn't work. So when we get to that stage, there will be some rides at the end of here, but I think I'll keep them to the edges rather than having it directly in the middle. Like I said, I want there to be a kind of visual feature there. So I thought I'd lift everything up here just to make it flat for this initial area. A lot of the landscaping I will do again towards the end of the build and as I go, rather than just dealing with the ground. I want to make it as sort of user friendly as possible, this park, and as easy on the eye as it should be. So what I do here is just extend it up a little bit so we've got two equal flower bed areas, and then like I said, just put the paths in to make sure there's enough pathway for the guests. And that's about where we are leaving it for this one. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll pick this up again in a couple of days. So thank you, see you soon, bye.